challenge for EFL teachers, especially in EFL Turkish setting, since this action research was performed in Turkey. There may be many factors preventing students to speak. For instance, in 1992, Goddard claimed that some teachers attribute learners' passiveness in the classroom or there is no motivation at all. Another factor is that the low participation in communication, since students are living in a country where English is not their mother tongue or English is not an everyday language. So they lack of practice, they cannot develop their English speaking and communicative skills. Because the classroom is only the place where the second language in Turkey could practice the English. So according to Liu and Littlewood, the more speaking activities in which students engage, the higher they rate their ability to speak, which tells that students feel confident in oral communication if they had a lot of practice. Another factor is that Horwitz and company note that when the students talk in second language, they feel tense, they feel uncomfortable, thus become unwillingness for them to respond. And last, from another perspective, culture is another factor because certain cultures forbids or strongly discourages students in speaking in classroom. Do you agree with that? There are some cultures that forbid students to speak. Okay. So sometimes there may be the reason of difference towards teachers and elder students. So this is a teacher's factor. Example for this is the Asian students learning English as second language. This example is from the Japanese or Japan. Dwyer and Helen Murphy in the year 1996 found out that students were reticent. When we say reticent, they don't want to participate or they just keep silent during the classroom activities. So Dwyer and Helen Murphy found out that students were reticent in EFL due to first, fear of public failure. Second, fear of making mistakes. Third, lack of confidence. Fourth, low English proficiency. Then, inability to cope up with the native speakers. And last is the incompetence conversation, disorientations, and more. So this is similarly to Chu in the year 1996. Chu found out that one of the commonly mentioned causes of reticence in the class is the students' lack of confidence and the fear of making mistakes and being laughed at. So according to Chu, some of the factors that affects student speaking is the lack of confidence and the fear of being despised or being laughed at. Now, the purpose of this study is to seek the reason of keeping silent in English oral communication classes to discover the reasons of ESL students' reluctance during the oral performance and last is to shed light on the notes of these reasons and to propose some strategies that can help teachers overcome the issue of acting reluctant in oral communication. Now, the research question for this topic is first, why are some students reluctant to use second language in EFL oral communication classes? And the second question is, what are the perceptions of students about speaking in second language? Now, let's move on to the methods. The purpose of this study is to bring forth the reasons of reluctance in EFL oral communication classes and learners' perspectives on this issue. So, for the method, then we have the Likert scale or the research used semi-formal interview and a questionnaire. Now, who are the participants? The participants are strongly agree. So the students are going to put a check mark based on their answer. Then the data was elicited through 5 options from strongly agree, just like what I mentioned. In addition to the Likert scale, and to make the outcomes more reliable, semi-structured interviews were conducted with 5 of the participants. So 5 of the participants didn't mention if they volunteered or they are selected. And those participants are named participant 1, participant 2, participant 3, 4, and 5. Now, the procedure. The interview sessions were being recorded and transcribed into English. Why they didn't transcribe it into English? Because the researcher, before they began the interview, the researcher asked the students if they would feel comfortable talking in mother tongue instead of the English language. So for discussion, surprisingly, the result of the questionnaire and the interview did not match. The questionnaire says that the students are not reluctant in speaking second language, but the interviewer or their attitudes and behavior in the interview says that they are reluctant in speaking English. So they even asked the researcher if the interview would be go along all English. Okay. Then for the result, several factors such as anxiety, fear of being despised, teacher strategy and culture, interest in topic, lack of confidence, fear of making mistakes are the findings and the reasons of reluctance in speaking in second language. And for the conclusion, although the results show the presence of reluctance in speaking classes, they cannot be explained only through this small number of participants because there are only 5 participants. Donald went on the year 2010 suggested the causes of reticence and reluctance among learners of English as a second or foreign language cannot be generalized or simply as being applicable to all learners. And for future studies may wish that the analysis. Future studies may wish to examine other possible reasons of reluctance and provide useful strategies to engage EFN. And involving more participants is needed for future studies. And for my insight, as I have learned several factors that causing the students to reticence or to keep silent during second language courses or discussion, we cannot force the students to speak, but we can provide it from giving students alternative options. For example, if my students are afraid of making mistakes, then therefore I will not let him feel that I will correct him in front of the class. And another example is that if my students lack confidence, as a teacher, I should boost up my students' confidence since a teacher is also confident. Thank you.